Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we're going deep on intimacy in relationships.
Ooh, interesting.
How does it really work? Especially when two people, maybe they're not quite on the same page about it.
It can get complicated, right? Making sure both people feel connected and all.
Exactly. So we checked out this podcast. It's called Intimacy Unlocked. The hosts are Alex and Jordan.
Okay.
They have this whole idea. It's not like intimacy is just on or off. It's more like everybody's got their own needs, their own way of experiencing it.
Yeah, I like how Alex and Jordan kind of turn things upside down, They're like, intimacy isn't just physical, it's about being really vulnerable.
Right, like letting your partner see the real you.
Exactly. Creating a space where you can share all that stuff,
Yeah.
fears, dreams, the whole shebang.
That's when you feel truly seen. Not just physically close, but like emotionally connected.
Totally. But, and here's where things get tricky. What if those needs, that desire for connection, are different for each person?
That's what they call mismatched intimacy.
Yep. And it happens way more often than you'd think.
Oh, I can see how that caused friction. Do they have like examples of what that looks like in a real couple?
So picture this. One partner is always wanting those deep talks, that heart-to-heart connection.
Okay.
But the other person, they might get overwhelmed by that. They connect more through touch or doing things together.
So one's craving emotional intimacy, the other maybe feels pressured by it.
Exactly. And if nobody talks about it, the cycle starts. Both end up feeling neglected.
Like they're speaking different languages, but about love.
Exactly.
Now I got to ask, where does this mismatch come from? Is it like personality or something else?
Well, Alex and Jordan, they talked about how big life changes can really mess with intimacy needs.
Oh, that makes sense.
Like having a baby, crazy job stress, health issues. Suddenly how you connect, it shifts.
They had that example, the new parents.
Yeah, one's wiped out, no energy for anything.
But the other, maybe they want that closeness even more because of this shared experience.
It shows how, even when you love each other, life can throw things off balance. And that's where talking to each other becomes crucial. I mean, really talking.
Not just past the salt talk, but deep stuff, right?
Yeah.
About expectations and all that.
Yeah, and that can be scary for people, putting it all out there.
For sure.
But without it, you're guessing, making assumptions, and that leads to hurt feelings.
So being open, honest is like the foundation to get this intimacy thing right.
100%.
Okay, so talking is key, but, easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
Did Alex and Jordan give any tips on how to have these conversations without it getting weird?
They did, and it might sound counterintuitive at first, but they suggest scheduling time for intimacy.
Wait, like putting it on the calendar?
Yep, both for physical and emotional intimacy.
Part of me is like, that kills the romance. But I'm listening.
The thing is, life gets in the way. You get busy, intimacy takes a backseat.
Right, chores, work, all that.
Exactly. So by scheduling it, even if it feels forced at first, you're making it a priority, saying, hey, this connection matters to us.
I guess that makes sense. But didn't they say intimacy is about spontaneity? Doesn't this contradict that?
They address that. The schedule's just the starting point. What you do with that time, that's where the real connection happens.
So being open to trying different things.
Yeah.
Right, not like a rigid checklist.
Exactly. It's about finding what feels good for both of you, whether it's deep talks, touch, whatever.
This is all good in theory, but did they have real couples, who made this work?
Oh, yeah, lots of stories. Like this one couple, both super busy professionals, they were drifting apart.
Classic, right. You get caught up in the hustle.
Totally. So they tried the scheduled intimacy thing, one night a week, intimacy night, they called it.
I like that. Makes it sound more fun, less like a chore.
And it worked. They said having that time set aside, it actually made them more spontaneous the rest of the week.
Like it took the pressure off?
Yeah, they knew they had that dedicated time to reconnect, so they could just enjoy the everyday moments.
That's awesome. Any other success stories?
Oh yeah, there was this couple. One partner felt totally neglected emotionally.
Oof. I've been there.
Turns out the other partner was super stressed at work, had shut down without realizing it.
Happens all the time. You bottle stuff up and boom, distance in the relationship.
So the one who felt neglected, they spoke up, had this big heart-to-heart.
Brave of them.
And the other partner, hearing how much it was hurting them, they opened up too about the work stress.
So they both got vulnerable.
Exactly. That honest talk, it allowed them to see each other's side. The one who'd withdrawn, they started making an effort to be more present. And the other one, feeling heard, they were able to be patient.
Shows that even when you're mismatched, doesn't mean it's over.
Nope, not at all. But it takes effort, communication, and understanding each other's point of view.
But how do you know when you're in sync? Like, is there a test or something?
Alex and Jordan, they said intimacy isn't a finish line, it's an ongoing journey.
Makes sense. You're always growing and changing.
Right, and those mismatches, those times you're OT of sync, they can actually make the relationship stronger.
Wait, really? How does that work?
Think about it. When you hit those bumps, it forces you to talk, to figure out what each of you needs.
Like, it's a chance to check in, see where you're both at.
Exactly. It's saying, okay, what's working, what's not, and how can we make this better together?
So it's not about blaming each other, but about being curious, wanting to grow.
Exactly.
Like, you got to keep working at it, like a dance.
Yeah.
But when you know you've nailed it, like, boom, we're intimate, check that box.
It's tough to say because every couple's different, right? What works for one might not for another.
Makes sense.
But I think when both people truly feel seen, heard, understood, that's a good sign.
Like, you can be yourself, totally, no judgment.
Exactly. And you know your partner gets you, values what you need.
It's that feeling of safety, like, I can let my guard down, be real, and it's okay.
And that's when real intimacy happens. Being vulnerable, showing up as you are, warts and all.
Not about being perfect, more like we're in this together, learning as we go.
Exactly. So yeah, it's ongoing, always communicating, adjusting to each other.
We might mess up the steps sometimes,
Right.
but as long as we're dancing, we're good.
Right. And it's cool how those mismatches, the friction, it pushes you to grow.
It's like, hey, pay attention.
Yeah.
This needs work.
Right. You become more aware, not just of your needs, but your partner's too.
And then it's not about, you got to do it my way. It's more like, how do we find a rhythm together?
Exactly. And you got to be flexible. What worked last year might not work today.
True. People change. Life throws curveballs.
So you adapt, you improvise. Keeps things interesting too, right?
So summing up this deep dive, intimacy, it's not a one-time thing. It's a journey, lots of communication, always adapting.
Totally. And those times you feel out of sync, it's not the end of the world. It's a chance to understand each other better, even yourselves.
Alex and Jordan's message was really positive. We have the power, right? It's not about waiting for our partner to magically figure it out.
Yeah. Right. You got to own your needs, be honest about them, and be open to different ways of connecting.
So be proactive, keep the conversation going. Even when it's tough, it's worth it.
Absolutely. It can be frustrating, but it's how relationships grow.
So to everyone listening, think about your own relationships, the intimacy part. Are you feeling connected? Are you talking openly? And when things get tough, are you seeing it as a chance to get closer?
It's like a dance, remember? It takes two to make it work.
Beautiful analogy. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive, and we'll see you next time for more relationship explorations.